पार्ट में, मतलब पाकिस्तान में, प्रेजेंट भारत में और बांग्लादेश में भी, तीन जगह में Muslims have grown at the same rate and non-Muslims also have grown at the same rate. Let's assume that. Based on that, let's see what is the population religious demography at present Bharat, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Bangladesh should have had 221.67 million population in 2024, while they have 173.6 million, which is 48.07 million less. Why should Bangladesh have so less? एक सोसाइटी, एक समाज है हम लोग, लेकिन हमारे लिए अलग अलग कानून अलग है। ये कैसे, मतलब एक भारत इकलौता देश है जहाँ पे ये हो रहा है, कहीं पे नहीं होता है ये सब। भारत सरकार has to do one thing which every other country has done except India. Every other country has done except India. Namaste and welcome to SangamTalks. Today we have with us Devjani Bhattacharya ji, who's an author, speaker and columnist. She speaks and writes regularly on socio-political and geopolitical issues in English and Bangla. She is an alumnus of Jadavpur University Engineering faculty. She has also worked in the pharma sector and as a business consultant. Welcome Devjani ji. Namaste. So today she will guide us through the demographic shift in Akhand Bharat and present-day India, delving into religious compositions and their broader implications. Using census data, she will examine the accuracy of common narratives, such as the claim that Bharat is continuously being infiltrated by Bangladeshis and Rohingyas, or that non-Muslims face persecution in Bangladesh. So, ma'am, the first thing I would like to know is, should religious demographics be important for policy making in a secular country? Yeah, that's the most relevant question, I think. Should religious demography at all be important for us? Because we are a secular country. What do we have to do with religion? Because regarding policy making, every person is equally important for the government. So why should we separately study religious demography? Because we have to study demographics for policy making itself. We have to look at the population demography from various angles. But what is the significance of religion here, especially when Bharat is a secular country? That's a very good question, in fact. Ideally, religion should not have any significance. Religious demographic studies should not have any significance. But if we look into the history of Bharat, then we have to understand this. We have to digest this fact. We don't understand the significance of this fact properly, perhaps. Bharat is the only country in the whole world till now, the only country which got partitioned based on religion. There's no other example in the whole world, in the historical period. No other, not even a single other example like this. So Bharat is the only country which got partitioned based on religion. So that fact actually shows us that how important religion is in Bharat. That shows the importance of religion. And that is exactly why we need to study the religious demography, even after the fact that we are a secular country. A secular country which once got divided based on religion, that shows the importance of this thing. That's what I feel. Yes. So, ma'am, if religious demography is important, why not caste demography or caste census? In fact, I was expecting this question that why shouldn't caste demography be important? Yeah, caste is it's a reality in Bharat. We are divided into castes, no denying the fact. However, at the same time, we also have to look at the fact that recently just Mahakumbha has just ended. Mahakumbha is a program, is a mela. Mahakumbha is a religio-cultural congregation where all people from all castes, from all over India, from all creeds, all varna, they bathed together. When we bathed together, we didn't know who is which caste. And this Kumbh Mela dates back to minimum more than 2000 years. More than 2000 years. So we actually do not know how old is this. So, but even after that, matlab, if we have Kumbh Mela, then how can we have caste? Means a society which is caste ridden
How can the same society go for engage in a program in a congregation like Kumbh Mela? Aren't these two self-contradictory? But even after that, we can understand that caste is a much later inclusion in our society. It was not there originally. That's what it shows. But even if it was a later inclusion, it is a reality that Indian society was caste ridden. So naturally, the question would come, if we study the religious demography, then why won't we go for caste census? I would say, however caste ridden our society may be, Indian society never got partitioned based on caste. But Indian society got partitioned based on religion. So definitely the importance on from the perspective of demographic studies, importance of religion will always outweigh the importance of caste. That's what I personally feel.
Right, ma'am. So, since we are talking about the religious demography, did Bhartiyas convert to Islamism mostly during the Islamic rule? Did the start
Uh,
of this religious demography start then?
yeah, that's what is very natural because Bharat was ruled by the Islamic rulers for around 700 to 800 years. So it is obvious that we would assume that Indians got converted into Islamism, mostly during the Islamic era. That is obvious because the ruler is Islamic, so Indians also got converted, whatever, under pressure or whatever it be the cause. They got converted during the Islamic ruler. But if we look at this Tariq-e-Salim Shahi, means Emperor Jahangir. So Jahangir means almost the just the phase just before the fag end of the Mughal Empire, just before the fag end. So then also Emperor Jahangir is saying that 5/6 of his like subjects are Hindus. The people of India, 5/6 of the Indians are Hindus then, even at the time of Jahangir. So what do we understand from that? If 5/6 are Hindus even at the time of Jahangir, Mughal Empire, Mughal Emperor, then can we not assume that the Bharatiyas didn't really convert during the Islamic period? Conversion to Islamism that didn't really happen much during the Islamic era. In fact, the Bharat is converted mostly during the British era because if you look at the history, though I'm not a student of history, but I had to study for my own interest in the socio-political matters. After 1857 Mahavidro, Queen's proclamation ke baad, when Bharat directly went under the rule of the British Empire, means the Queen's rule. When Queen's rule began, then the first census of Bharat happened in 1881. Just before that, Benjamin Disraeli of the Conservative Party was the Prime Minister of Britain. 1881 is the first ever census of undivided Bharat. Even then, undivided Bengal was Hindu majority. We have to note this fact. This is very striking because even in 1881, undivided Bengal was Hindu majority. But after that, within just 66 years, in 1947, during independence and partition, undivided Bengal turned Muslim majority. So, what do we understand from this? Mostly the conversion happened under the British rule, not so much during the Islamic rule. It was, and I have, as much as my studies go, it started especially after the reign, after the period when Benjamin Disraeli was the British Prime Minister. It happened after that. It was a planned action, as per my observation. We Indians mostly converted during the British era. That's a very striking thing I observed myself. Not so much during the Islamic period.
So, ma'am, if they converted during the British era, so what was the percentage population of Muslims in undivided Bharat before partition? And how much land was given to Pakistan from the undivided Bharat at the time of partition? Like, was there anything similar in both of these?
Yeah, actually, we have two census data. I have worked on two census data, one 1941, 1951, and then the 2024 population data has been taken from the projections. and the online sources that we have. Because before 2024, we do not have another census. So 2024 population data, you can assume that we have taken from the online sources and the projections there. So if we look at 1941 census, then the Muslim population of Bharat in 1941, it was 94.44 million. And then in 1951 census, the Muslim population of undivided Bharat became 110.89, means 111 million. While in 2024, the Muslim population of undivided Bharat turned 596.4 million. If we look at it into percentage, then in 1941, Muslims' percentage presence in Bharat was 24%. 24% percentage presence of Muslims. Means out of the total population of undivided Bharat, 24% were Muslims. Similarly, in 1951, out of the total population of Bharat, this time divided Bharat, all put together, Pakistan, present Bharat, and the East Pakistan means Bangladesh, all put together, the number of Muslims are 25% of the total population. But in 2024, in undivided Bharat, means all three parts together, 32% are Muslims. So if we look at it, like as you have rightly asked, that whatever the percentage, 24% Muslims were present in 1941. And hence, during the partition, exactly 24% of Indian land was given to Pakistan. When partition happened, when partition based on religion, the Muslims of undivided India said that they cannot stay together with all, so they wanted a share of their land, then they got exactly 24% of Indian land. Total Indian land mass was 43,17,636 square kilometers, and Pakistan was given 10,30,373 square kilometers. So that was exactly 24% of Bharatiya land. And so that means, what does it mean? It means actually, the bottom line is that partition is nothing but loss of land. And land is what? Land is our solid property. So partition is nothing but loss of solid properties of Bharatiyas, the common Bharatiyas all together. And so today, if we have partition, we assume, had the partition not happened in 1947 but in 2025, then how much land Bharat would have had to give to Pakistan? 32%. Because right now, land was given absolutely at the same proportion of the population, percentage presence of Muslims in undivided Bharat. So that is what is the takeaway for us. Population is to land mass, land share. That is what is the significance of population.
So, ma'am, if we try to understand it further, what is the population growth from 1941 to 24 of both non-Muslims and Muslims, if we consider the landmass of undivided Bharat and the present Bharat as well?
Yeah. So, if we look at the religious demography of undivided Bharat, then we would see that in different years, like 1941, 1951, then the growth percentage in 1941, between 1941 and 51, and then again in 2024, I would rather focus on the growth percentage of population in between the period 1951 to 2024, and where we can see that the total population of undivided Bharat grew at the rate of 321.2%. The Muslim population of undivided Bharat grew in the period between 1951 and 2024, grew at the rate of 437.83%, while the non-Muslims of undivided Bharat, means Pakistan, present Bharat and Bangladesh, all put together, the non-Muslims grew at the rate of 282.57%. So that is the growth rate. And you can also see this. We have to remember these growth rates, especially we have to remember that in undivided Bharat, between 1951 and 2024, the non-Muslims grew at the rate of 437.83% and non-Muslims grew at the rate of 282.57%. We have to remember these two percentages because these will be required in our coming slides. Yeah, the next thing is this. You can show in the form of a pie that in 1941, the percentage presence of Muslims in undivided Bharat was 24%. In 1951, it was 25%. While in 2024, it became as big as 32%. You can see the change in the shape of the pie. And the very next slide, if we see the present Bharat, means the Bharat where we stay at this point of time, then we can see that at this point of time in 1941, in the present Bharat area, the percentage presence of Muslims were at 30%, 13%, 13, and in 1951, they became 10%. Why? Because population exchange happened between West Pakistan and the Bharat, means in 1947. So the percentage presence of Muslims reduced to 10%. And in 2024, the percentage presence of Muslims in present Bharat is 14%. Now, I said that you have to remember those two percentages, that Muslims grew in undivided Bharat, Muslims grew at the rate of 437.83%. If you go back to the 7th slide, then we have to remember that the Muslims of undivided India grew at the rate of 437.83%, and the non-Muslims grew at the rate of 282.57%. Now let's come to this point. Let's assume that after partition, Muslim population grew uniformly in each part. Means हमने देख लिया कि पूरे अनडिवाइडेड भारत में क्या ग्रोथ रेट था. तो अभी हम ये assume करते हैं कि हर पार्ट में, मतलब पाकिस्तान में, प्रेजेंट भारत में और बांग्लादेश में भी, तीनों जगह में Muslims have grown at the same rate and non-Muslims also have grown at the same rate. Let's assume that, and based on that, let's see what is the population religious demography at present Bharat, Pakistan and Bangladesh. This is an assumption that the Muslims and non-Muslims have grown in all the three parts at the same rate. This is an assumption. And based on that assumption, what should be the population, religious demography of the population at present, and what is it in reality, in terms of real data? So let's go into the next slide for comparison. You can see that if we see that, like in 1951, the total population of present Bharat, means the Bharat that we call Bharat today, the total population was 361.088 million. Means more than 36 crore. So had this total population grew at that rate, means 321% rate. मतलब हमने देखा है पहले कि total population grew at 321%, Muslim population grew at 437.83%, and non-Muslims grew at 282.57%. So if we assume that from 1951 to 2024, if प्रेजेंट भारत का टोटल पॉपुलेशन वही रेट पे ग्रो करें, तो आज हमारा पॉपुलेशन होनी चाहिए 1439.88 मिलियन. बट इन रियलिटी, इन एक्चुअल्स, मतलब जो हमारे ये गूगल से मिला है हमें, इन एक्चुअल्स एट प्रेजेंट द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ इंडिया इज 1452.4, means 12.52 million more than what it should have been had we grew at the same time. Similarly, Muslim population also in India, had the Muslims grew at the 437.83%, then Muslim population of present Bharat should have been 202.55 million, while it is in reality 2.25 million more. 2.25 million more, and non-Muslims at 10.27 million more. After seeing present Bharat, let's see present Pakistan. It is even more striking, you see. Even पाकिस्तान में भी 2024 में पॉपुलेशन प्रोजेक्टेड, अगर वो मुस्लिम लोग वहां पे भी 437.83% रेट पे ही ग्रो किया है, तो प्रोजेक्टेड होना चाहिए था पाकिस्तान में 215.74 मिलियन. बट इन रियलिटी पाकिस्तान का एक्चुअल पॉपुलेशन 251.3 मिलियन है. That means Pakistan has 35.55 million more. And Muslim population Pakistan में 29 million ज्यादा है, जो कि होनी चाहिए, मतलब 211.29 मिलियन होनी चाहिए, लेकिन है 240.8। और एक इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट यहाँ पे है, इस स्लाइड में है, मुझे बहुत मजा आता है वो खुद देखने में भी। लुक एट दिस, नॉन मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन इन 1951, मतलब पॉपुलेशन एक्सचेंज हो जाने के बाद नॉन, इसमें नॉन मुस्लिम मतलब हिंदू नहीं है, हिंदू क्रिश्चियन सारे है, सिख सारे सब है, तो मिला के 1.165 मिलियन था पाकिस्तान में। तो और 2026 में उनका हिसाब होना था 4.4569 मिलियन। बट लुक एट दिस, पाकिस्तान हैज 10.5 मिलियन नॉन मुस्लिम्स। क्या पाकिस्तान बहुत अच्छा जगह है क्या नॉन मुस्लिम के लिए? मतलब इतने ज्यादा कैसे हो गए नॉन मुस्लिम लोग? ये तो सवाल मेरे मेरे मन में आया जब मैंने ये सब देखा। तब पता चला कि इनका फिगर इतना खराब हो गया था, मतलब माइनॉरिटी के ऊपर ऑपरेशन इतना बोला जा रहा था इनके बारे में, they had added the Ahmadiyas into the non-Muslim group. Then they claimed that Ahmadiyas are not Muslims. They are non-Muslims. So they added the Ahmadiyya population to make it 10.5, to make it look good. So this is a common Pakistan attitude on fudging the data and all that. Now come to the most striking. We have seen present Bharat, we have seen present Pakistan. Bharat में भी जो होना है population उससे ज्यादा है, more than what it should have been. Pakistan also has more, 35 million more than they should have had. And now look at Bangladesh. It is absolutely striking. Look, Bangladesh should have had 221.67 million population in 2024, while they have an 173.6 million, which is 48.07 million less. Why should Bangladesh have so less? Why should Bangladesh have less? Look at Muslim population of Bangladesh. They should have had 182.56 million, while Muslim population is Bangladesh is in reality is 150.8 million. So 31 million less. And look at the poor condition of non-Muslims in Bangladesh. They should have had a 39.11 million, and they are having in reality 22.8 million, 16 million less. Why should Bangladesh have so less population? What does it mean? What actually it means? भारत में ज्यादा है, पाकिस्तान में जो होना है उससे ज्यादा है, बांग्लादेश में कम क्यों होगा? कैसे हो सकता है ये? दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग इंडिकेटर ऑफ इन्फिल्ट्रेशन। डेटा तो वही दिखाते हैं, मतलब इन बांग्लादेश वर्ड दे से हिसाबेर कोड़ी बाघे खाए ना, मीन्स वॉट एवर यू कीप इन अकाउंट्स बुक, नथिंग, मैंने हिसाबेर कोड़ी मीन्स जो गिनती में जो पैसे आते हैं वो, मतलब वो बाघ के, मतलब बाघ नहीं खाते, शेर नहीं खा जाते हैं उसको, वो मिलेगा ही कहाँ, कहीं कहीं ना कहीं पर जाकर। तो ये कैसे हो गया कि बांग्लादेश इज हैविंग 48.7 million less population? So this is a very strong indicator of regular Bangladeshi infiltration into the other parts of Bharat. This is an indicator. And now let us if we look at the like in breakup in terms of the growth rate of different of population. Look, in present Bharat, the growth rate of Muslim population in present Bharat, the Muslims are growing at the rate of 443.8%. In present Pakistan, Muslims are growing at the rate of 512.94%. Pretty obvious, because Pakistan is a country for Muslims, so it is pretty obvious that Muslims will grow at a higher percentage in a Muslim country because it is more congenial and conducive for them. So भारत से पाकिस्तान में उनका growth rate ज्यादा है. But look at Bangladesh. Bangladesh is also an Islamic country, but look, Muslim population is growing in Bangladesh at the rate of 344.27%. 344.27%, while in Bharat, Muslims are growing at 443.8%. We can say that भारत में बांग्लादेश में शायद उनका संख्या ज्यादा है इसलिए ग्रोथ परसेंटेज का, बिल्कुल ही नहीं है, क्योंकि टोटल जो पॉपुलेशन है मुस्लिम लोगों का बांग्लादेश में वो 150.8 मिलियन भारत में वो 204.8, मतलब भारत में पॉपुलेशन ज्यादा है मुस्लिम लोगों का, फिर भी उनका ग्रोथ रेट ज्यादा है। बांग्लादेश में पॉपुलेशन कम है, फिर भी ग्रोथ रेट इतना कम है। ये कैसे हो सकता है? ये क्या हो, कैसे, हाउ इज दिस पॉसिबल? दीज आर एनोमैलीज, these are anomalies. And look at the non-Muslim population growth in present Bharat. It is 85.74%. The non-Muslims are growing in present Bharat at the rate of 285.74%, while in Bangladesh they are growing at the rate of 123.023%. Look at the shabby condition of non-Muslim growth in Bangladesh. How is this possible? How is that possible? From 1951 up to 2024 in Bangladesh, Muslim population grew 99.53% slower than the Muslim population grew in Bharat. How is that possible? Because Bangladesh regularly pushed her people into Indian territory. This is the question that I want to raise. नहीं तो ये पॉसिबल ही कैसे होगा? ये एनोमैली है, बिकॉज बांग्लादेश इज एन इस्लामिक लैंड। और हमको तो ये पता चला, मतलब रिसेंट टाइम से पहले, वो जो अगस्त वाला जो वहाँ पे जो मूवमेंट वगैरह हुआ, उससे पहले हमें ये पता चलता था कि वो बहुत अच्छे कर रहे हैं, जीडीपी भी बहुत अच्छे हैं और बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है बांग्लादेश का इकोनॉमी। इफ एवरीथिंग वाज गोइंग ऑलराइट, देन व्हाई इज इट that Bangladesh, even the Muslims are growing much slower in Bangladesh than in Bharat? This can only be possible if Bangladeshis are regularly entering Bharat from Bangladesh. If it's a methodical and systematic infiltration, इसका एक indicator है. I am not saying it is happening. What I'm saying is we have to probe this matter. And the policy makers need to probe. How is that possible? And then हमारे जो undivided India में the non-Muslims growth rate was 282.57% in undivided India. Between 1951 and 2024, in undivided India, non-Muslims grew at the rate of 282.57%. So after partition, जब मतलब वो जो मुस्लिम लोगों का अपना शेयर मांगे थे वो लोग, तो उनका सेसेशन हो गया, पाकिस्तान बन गया। उसके बाद जो भारत रह गया वो तो नॉन मुस्लिम लोगों के लिए होगा, ये स्वाभाविक है, क्योंकि जो मतलब अगर मुस्लिम लोग निकल जाते हैं तो जो रह जाते हैं वो नॉन मुस्लिम का पार्ट होगा। तो प्रेजेंट भारत में नॉन मुस्लिम का ग्रोथ रेट और भी ज्यादा होनी चाहिए थी, लेकिन हमें ये देखने के लिए मिला कि प्रेजेंट भारत में भी, मतलब पार्टीशन के बाद भी, ग्रोथ रेट एक ही रह गया। मतलब पहले 282% था और अभी 285% हुआ है, 285.74%। तो the non-Muslims didn't grow significantly faster in present India, जो कि होनी चाहिए थी, क्योंकि ये तो नॉन मुस्लिमों की देश है, तो यहाँ पे तो उनके लिए कॉन्जीनियलिटी, कंड्यूसिव एटमॉस्फेयर होनी एक्सपेक्टेड है, तो उनका ग्रोथ रेट भी यहाँ पे ज्यादा होनी चाहिए थी, पहले से ज्यादा। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ। तो फिर क्यों नहीं हुआ वो हमें तो मतलब प्रोब होनी चाहिए। पॉलिसी मेकर्स should look into this. Is it due to outward migration? Is it because the Bharatiyas regularly went out of Bharat? Or is it because of birth control? Because birth control had been applied mainly in the non-Muslim sector of the society, of Bharatiya society. Or it happened due to Hindu Code Bill. Hindu Code Bill is something जो जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी के समय पास हुआ था, वो हिंदू समाज के संस्कार के लिए। तो जब पॉलीगैमी वगैरह सब चला गया हिंदू समाज से, तो उसका जो परिणाम आज है, that we are not growing at a very fast rate, while लेकिन तब तो वो यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, जो इंस्टेड ऑफ हिंदू कोड बिल, इट शुड हैव बीन यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड बिल, लेकिन वो भी आज भी नहीं आया है। वो आज भी नहीं है। हमारे लिए एक सोसाइटी, एक समाज है हम लोग, लेकिन हमारे लिए अलग अलग कानून अलग है। ये कैसे, मतलब एक भारत एक लौता देश है जहाँ पे ये हो रहा है, कहीं पे नहीं होता है ये सब। आई मीन नो, इन नो अदर डेमोक्रेसी, इन नो अदर स्टैंडर्ड सिविलाइज्ड डेमोक्रेसी इट हैपेंस, बट इन इंडिया वी पास्ड हिंदू कोड बिल, we still didn't pass a uniform civil code. So that may be a reason, one of the reasons. So these are the questions that I am raising. What is the reason that even after partition, the non-Muslims are not growing very fast in present Bharat? What is the cause? Now, why the non-Muslims in Bangladesh are growing so slow? Only 123%. Why should non-Muslims grow so slow in Bangladesh? Is it because of persecution? Because we keep on hearing that in non-Muslims are being persecuted, Hindus are being persecuted in Bangladesh, and what else could be the persecution? Means we are hearing that in presence of the like the videos are going viral in the social media, that I have also posted one such video, that the parents are there and the children are being taken and being converted. So is this the reason why non-Muslims are growing so slow, or even the non-Muslims of Bangladesh are coming to Bharat? What is the reason? Why should non-Muslims grow so slow? While in present India, non-Muslims are growing at 285.74%. In Bangladesh, non-Muslims are growing at 123.023%. Why is that? Why should it be like this? And now look at this. Data shows that, as I'm repeatedly saying, in the saying goes in Bangla, hishabe kori bage khaye na. Means you can find data never lies. You see, if we look at the Muslim population increase, average population increase per year between 1941 and 1951. Means 1941 में जो था, 1951 में क्या हुआ? Pakistan, we can see that in 1941 it was the growth rate, every year growth rate was 7.62% in Pakistan. But look at Bangladesh, it is 1.5%. मतलब 1947 में पार्टीशन हो गया, उसके बाद पाकिस्तान में तो मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज हुआ है, लेकिन बांग्लादेश में परसेंटेज इंक्रीज देखिए 1.5% only. Why is that? This is the impact of Nehru-Liaquat Agreement in 1950. If I remember the date correctly, it was April 7, 1950. तो नेहरू लियाकत अग्रीमेंट साइन करने से पहले वो लोग पाकिस्तान चले गए थे, लेकिन वो अग्रीमेंट साइन होने के बाद लौट कर आ गए, और इसी के बाद 1951 का सेंसस हुआ, एंड दैट शोज दैट इन बांग्लादेश द परसेंटेज Muslim population increase, average percentage per year between 1941 1951, it was only 1.5%. And look at this, this is very interesting. The growth rate, मतलब पाकिस्तान में कितने मतलब non-Muslims growth of non-Muslim population in Pakistan. It is, why is it showing so high? I mean, how is it that non-Muslims are growing so steeply in Pakistan? Because these non-Muslims include Ahmadiyya Muslims also. But look at the growth line of Bangladesh, the slowest. The non-Muslims are growing slowest in Bangladesh. What does it mean? It means maximum persecution. पाकिस्तान को हम छोड़ देते हैं क्योंकि वो उसमें तो नॉन मुस्लिम, सारे नॉन मुस्लिम है भी नहीं, और पाकिस्तान के साथ हमारा पॉपुलेशन एक्सचेंज भी नियर कंप्लीशन हो गया था, लेकिन बांग्लादेश में तो वो हॉल्ट किया गया था, मतलब नेहरू लियाकत अग्रीमेंट के द्वारा, that was halted. So non-Muslims stayed there back. But now look at their growth rate, it is so slow. So what does it mean? It means persecution. It can mean nothing else but persecution. We can see in the next year, look at Bangladesh, Muslim population increase average per year between 1951 and 2024. In Bangladesh, it is only 4.72%. While in present Bharat, Muslims are growing at 6.08% every year. But in Bangladesh, they're growing slower. In Pakistan, they're growing higher, obvious. This is incongruence with the reality. But look at Bangladesh, 4.72%. Why should that happen? This is infiltration. And look at the non-Muslims growth rate in Bangladesh, 1.69%. If this does not signify the persecution, what else does it signify? That is the question we need to really ask to ourselves. Isn't it, Arishi? What do you think? Now, what is coming to your mind after seeing these things?
Truly,
what can
after seeing your data, I can simply understand first, it was a big revelation that MDRs were added into the non-Muslim population just to inflate the numbers. And second thing, yes, this Bangladesh thing, like the population should have increased, but they are sending their people into India, and we are bearing the weight of their population. And probably we do not even know the exact number of people or the exact population of India at the present moment.
Absolutely. That is what, because what else can be the explanation? I couldn't find it out. The sole purpose of mine is to raise the questions to people. What else can it be? So data can never tell a lie. And these 1941 and 51 are census data. Anyone can find data. And 2024 is our the data that is available online. And then let's look like, matlab, what is the cause of rise of Muslim? Now we can see that we have seen that in Akhand Bharat, आज के दिन में, मतलब undivided India, if we look at, means including West Pakistan, the present Bharat and Bangladesh, then Muslims are growing to 32%, while in 1951 they were 25%. What is the reason exactly? What is the reason of their so faster growth? What could be the reason? One reason can be that their natural growth rate is higher. Obviously, why should we assume infiltration? Obviously, because since we do not know, we are not sure. So we cannot assume infiltration. We also have to assume that maybe they are growing faster naturally. But is it that they are growing because they turned from 25% to 32% by growing naturally, or by conversion, or is it infiltration from even Myanmar? Because we know that Rohingyas have entered our country. It is a known fact, because many places have the camps made for Rohingyas. West Bengal तो is a very congenial place for Rohingyas. सारी जगह पर तो उनका मतलब है, उनको बसाया गया है. तो बहुत सारी जगह पर रोहिंग्या लोग बस रहे हैं. दिल्ली में भी है, जम्मू में भी है, तो सारी जगह में है, हम जानते हैं. तो हमारे जो मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन है उनमें रोहिंग्या लोग भी है. बांग्लादेश में भी रोहिंग्या लोग है. दैट ऑल्सो वी नो that Rohingya camps are there in Bangladesh. So we have to now search that what is the reason of the growth of Muslim population in undivided Bharat. Let's assume that they are growing naturally faster than the non-Muslims. But that's not the right thing, because we have seen in our previous slides that at present Bharat, the Muslims growth rate per year is 6.08%, while Muslims growth rate per year in Bangladesh is 4.72%. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि बांग्लादेशियों में मुस्लिम का ग्रोथ रेट यहाँ से ज्यादा नहीं है. मतलब उनका नेचुरल ग्रोथ रेट ही बहुत ज्यादा, ये नहीं, ये बात सही नहीं है. तो फिर और क्या ऑप्शन रह जाता है? इन्फिल्ट्रेशन. मतलब हमारा जो इन्फिल्ट्रेशन इज लाइकली बिकॉज व्हेन वी कैलकुलेटेड the population 1941 में 1951 में, that population didn't contain the infiltrated population from Myanmar. That undivided India was only Pakistan, present Bharat and Bangladesh. But right now, in the population in 2024, in the population of undivided India, even Myanmar, Rohingyas from Myanmar are also included. So their 32%, this 32% percentage presence, उनमें सिर्फ भारत के, मतलब अनडिवाइडेड भारत के मुस्लिम लोग नहीं है, उनमें रोहिंग्या लोग भी है. मतलब इन्फिल्ट्रेशन इज द प्राइम कॉज, नॉट द नेचुरल ग्रोथ रेट. क्योंकि नेचुरल ग्रोथ रेट मुसलमानों में भारत में ज्यादा है, बांग्लादेश में कम. तो हम कैसे सोच लेंगे कि वो लोग नेचुरली ग्रो कर रहा है ज्यादा? ऐसा नहीं है. तो ये पॉलिसी मेकर्स के, भारत सरकार को ध्यान देना ही पड़ेगा इस बारे में, इसके बारे में. क्योंकि बाहर से लोग कुछ दिन बाद अगर मतलब इंडोनेशिया से भी लोग आ जाते हैं हमारे भारत में और कहने लगे कि हम भारतीय हैं, तो क्या होगा हमारा? मतलब दैट कैन नॉट गो ऑन. बट भारत इज नो धर्मशाला. तो the Bharat Sarkar must go for a proper population census and the proper demographic studies and all that. And what, again, I will come back to that part, this is more striking. What does partition mean to us? मतलब हम तो इतने बोल रहे हैं कि पार्टीशन, पॉपुलेशन, तो इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब समझने के लिए हमें एक छोटा सा मतलब समझना ही को काफी है. अगर एक फैमिली रह रहे हैं कोई घर में, जो टू ब्रदर्स है देयर, तो एक ब्रदर के सोचिए 7 चिल्ड्रन है, तो दूसरे ब्रदर के 9 चिल्ड्रन है. तो उसके बाद जो जिनके पास कुछ दिन बाद अगले in the next generation, the 7 children brother finally he's including all his grandchildren, perhaps they became 21. लेकिन जो जिनके पास 9 children थे, उनका they procreate and turn into maybe 50. So in the same house, their share increases. So increasing number of population is nothing but shifting of the land share from your own grid. And we can see this also in terms of जमीन के कितने शेयर, मतलब नॉन मुस्लिमों के पास 1941 में 28,47,420 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर था. 1951 में वो बढ़ के, because population exchange happened, non-Muslims land share in 1951 became increased to 29,44,406 square kilometers, while in 2024 the land share of non-Muslims of present Bharat reduced to 28,23,000. Or if we look at the Bangladesh picture, in 1941, the land share of non-Muslims in Bangladesh was 44,150 square kilometers. In 2024, non-Muslimों के पास बांग्लादेश में 19,498 only रह गया है. 44,000 से 19,000. पाकिस्तान में non-Muslimों के पास 1941 में 1,86,754 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर लैंड था. In 2024, पाकिस्तान में non-Muslimों के पास 36,849 square kilometers, only from 1,86,000 to 36,000 only. And this also includes Ahmadiyya Muslims. So we need to understand that partition is nothing but loss of land share. And if we look at the growth, rate of loss, then in undivided Bharat, starting right from 1941-51 and 1951-24 के बीच, अनडिवाइडेड भारत में, मतलब पूरे पाकिस्तान, भारत और बांग्लादेश को मिलाकर नॉन मुस्लिमों के पास 9.17% लैंड शेयर उनका लॉस हुआ है अभी तक. तो ये बात है पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज, रिलीजियस डेमोग्राफी स्टडी का यही मतलब है कि हमें we need to realize the bottom line that change in the religious demography means change in the land share in your control. So we have, after discussing this much, we need to discuss कि मतलब हमें, I am not a policy maker, we are not policy makers, but we are the demos. We are the people of the country. So myself and all those who are hearing and listening to this presentation, and all of us, we are the people because it matters to us only and nobody else. So what can we do? Because I think Bharat Sarkar has to do one thing which every other country has done except India. Every other country has done except India. That is, Bharat is the only country which doesn't give any citizenship identity card to her population. Bharat is the only country. The citizenship identity means the biometric enabled card which gives all your data. All the countries have it. Even Afghanistan has it. Bangladesh has it. Pakistan has it. We know US has it. SSN, Social Security Number and all that. So SSN, in US, SSN has everything. All the details of a person. Bharat is the only country which doesn't have it. So I think Bharat should give this biometric enabled citizenship card. और उसका जो प्रोविजन, लीगल प्रोविजन, वो तो मनमोहन सिंह के समय में ही मतलब कांग्रेस, यूपीए गवर्नमेंट हैड पास्ड दैट इन द सिटीजनशिप एक्ट ऑफ इंडिया 1955. वो अमेंडमेंट पास हो चुका है. तो दैट शुड बी गिवन एंड वोटिंग शुड बी थ्रू दैट आइडेंटिटी कार्ड, सो दैट ये सारे लोग जो यहाँ के नहीं है, मतलब ओरिजिनली दे आर नॉट फ्रॉम हियर, सो दे शुड नॉट पास वोट. बिकॉज व्हाई आर दे, वाई भारत में ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है कि भारत में Muslims are growing at the rate of 443%, while in Bangladesh they are growing much slower. ऐसे क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि appeasement politics we talk about. The appeasement politics हो रहा है. क्यों हो रहा है? Because they vote. If they don't vote, if the voting is through citizenship cards and biometric enabled, so that people understand who is who, then these people cannot vote, and the moment they cannot vote, appeasement politics will also go. ये तो होनी चाहिए. वो रहे भारत में कोई भी कभी हमने किसी को जाने के लिए नहीं कहा, रह सकते हैं तो रहे, लेकिन उनके पास ये वोट देने की अधिकार और the rights and the government schemes, that should not happen. And then when they go for employment, people, after the presence of the citizenship card, everything will be through that card. So all transactions they will not have the card. So then they will have to try for that, and then the other amendments accordingly. Government of India will have to do it. They will have to bite the bullet, because they cannot, Bharat, we cannot remain in a single country which doesn't have a citizenship identity card. No other country in the whole world has it. I mean, there's no other country in the whole world like Bharat. It has to be done, because that's a very rational solution which people, nobody can protest. Nobody can protest, because more so, because एक बार तो विभाजन तो हो चुके हैं ना. बंगाल, आप बंगाल की सोचिए, हम बंगाल से हैं. बंगाल पंजाब ये दोनों स्टेट थे जो फिजिकली डिवाइडेड हुआ है. बंगाल तो फिजिकली डिवाइडेड हुआ है. और 1951 में बंगाल में मुसलमान का पॉपुलेशन शेयर था 18%, 1951 सेंसस. और अभी जाकर वो लोग 30% और 31 ऐसे मुख्यमंत्री जी कहते हैं 31% और समथिंग लाइक दैट. तो हम क्यों माने कि वो 30 से 31% हो गए, 18 से 31% हो गए? क्यों मानेंगे हम? क्योंकि ये तो एक बार तो उनका पार्टीशन हो चुका है. और डेटा ये भी दिखा रहा है कि उनका नेचुरल ग्रोथ रेट बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है, हमसे कम है. तो ये कैसे पॉसिबल होगा कि वो लोग मतलब यहाँ पे इतने बढ़ जाएंगे? ये कैसे है? तो ये पॉसिबल तभी है, वो रिलीजियस डेमोग्राफी जो पहले था पार्टीशन के टाइम में जो था, उसको लाना जरूरी है. और उसके वो लाने के लिए एक ही मतलब मुझे तो लगता है ये सिटीजनशिप कार्ड वाला भारत सरकार को करनी चाहिए. और नहीं तो उनके पास बेटर पॉलिसी भी हो सकता है, मुझे नहीं मालूम कि क्या होगा वो. बट आई थिंक ओनली दिस थिंग वी शुड डिस्कस ऑन. People should call for solutions. Otherwise, infiltration will continue, because it is basically infiltration. Data shows infiltration, a very high level of infiltration. That should stop. That's my point.
My name is S.N. Bhargav. My question is, if the government doesn't do anything in this regard, what we as citizens can do?
I think we have, after the passage of CAA 2019, means after the amendment that was passed in 2019, uske baad the citizens can do one thing. I think it is, what we can do is, if we doubt someone as a Bangladeshi or a Pakistani, then we can go to the nearest police station and register a complaint against that person with photograph and all. That much citizens duty I think we can play. इन बंगाल में तो ये इसके लिए हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि पुलिस तो लेगा ही नहीं ऐसा कोई कंप्लेन. उसके बाद पुलिस तो खुद वो जो कंप्लेन करने जा रहा है उसके घर में चला आएगा. बंगाल में प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन सारे स्टेट में तो ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. तो अगर कहीं पे भी हमें दिखते हैं, क्योंकि सीएए पास होने के बाद इसका एक डीलेजिटिमाइजेशन हो चुका है. वो जो मतलब हमारे जो पड़ोसी देश से, अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश से Muslim log cannot come out of persecution, because they cannot be persecuted in their own land. So from that, it implies that like Muslims are not as welcome as the others. So एक ऐसा लेजिटिमाइजेशन थोड़ा सा हुआ है सीएए पास होने के बाद में, रियलिटी को मद्देनजर रखते हुए. तो इसके हिसाब से we can go as citizens, we can go and report to the police that I think this person is a Bangladesh or a Pakistani. जैसे कि मेरा एक ऐसा एक्सपीरियंस है, आई हैड बीन टू हरिद्वार ड्यूरिंग द कंवर यात्रा. एक मीटिंग था दिल्ली में, तो दिल्ली से हमने पूरा हरिद्वार गए. तो वहां पे जाके जो रिक्शा से, मतलब तब तो कंवर यात्रा हो रही थी, तो इसलिए पूरा होटल तक गाड़ी नहीं जा पाती थी, वो रिक्शा लेनी पड़ी एक जगह से. तो वो जो रिक्शा मैन थे, वो clearly he was a Pakistani from every look and attire. So under such situation, we can go to the police station and say that I think this person is a Pakistani. This much the citizens can do. The only thing that we can do at this present time.
My second question is, what is done at the border? I mean, it is said that the border is under BSF and other central government organizations, right? So it is the role of the central government to stop the infiltrators right at the border. And how can they come right from that border up to, say, Delhi? As the ma'am said that there are in Delhi also 2,000 kilometers without getting any detection. So, I mean, can you tell us what, how we can force the government also to do something in this regard?
Yeah, this is a very this is a question which is the money very very common and very legitimate. That whom do we blame? Shouldn't we blame the BSF because the infiltrators are entering through the border, and the borders are protected by the border security force. So primarily the responsibility goes to them. But is it the case? Then our problem is also that the common citizens, we are not really aware of the laws and the paraphernalia, the nitty gritties. We are not aware. The thing that happens, because I remain in Bengal, and Bengal is the only state of India which shares the longest border with an Islamic country, that is Bangladesh. Means not even Jammu Kashmir. Jammu Kashmir shares a 1,222-kilometer long border with Pakistan, while West Bengal shares a 2,217.16 kilometer long border with Bangladesh. So, when this long border is protected, what happens? What BSF can do is BSF can nab the infiltrators. They can shoot the infiltrators at sight. BSF has that power. BSF can also arrest any person doubting him to be an infiltrator. But BSF doesn't have in their jurisdiction the capacity to present that arrested fella to the magistrate. What BSF has to do, the protocol is, the law is that BSF has to hand it over to the state police. This is the regularity, and that is exactly what people do not know. We do not understand. I also didn't know. I came to know because I had to know. The same question as Mr. Bhargava has asked, the same question came to my mind also. And then I came to know the niyam is that the BSF, after nabbing them, has to hand it over to the state police. Now बंगाल पुलिस का तो मतलब सारे लोग जानते हैं कि इन लोगों के साथ क्या होता है. अगर and one thing is also very important. If you look at Punjab border, if you look at Jammu Kashmir, if you look at Rajasthan border, very sparsely populated borders they are. Even in Gujarat, very sparsely populated. तो infiltration होगा तो दिखाई देगा. लेकिन बंगाल का जो लैंड है वो पूरा फर्टाइल प्लेन लैंड है और हाईली पॉपुलेटेड, डेंसली पॉपुलेटेड. वहां से जब इन्फिल्ट्रेशन होता है, जब इन्फिल्ट्रेटर्स को नैब किया जाता है, उसके बाद बंगाल पुलिस उनको 2-3 दिन आपके अपने पास रख कर छोड़ देते हैं. इफ द पुलिस डजंट present the infiltrator to the magistrate, what can BSF do? BSF can do nothing, zero. Law has no such provision. And state law and order is in state's control. Even the center cannot say anything, even after knowing that the infiltrators are being left. The silence of the Indian Constitution. I have written a book on post-poll Bengal violence in 2021. So what has the government done? The administration has basically capitalized the silence of the constitution, the silent parts where constitution is silent. तो अगर हम पुलिस हैं, हमें चाहिए कि हम after getting the person arrested, getting into my custody, I will present him or her to the magistrate. But if I do not do it as a police, if I leave him, okay, you go. और 5 मिनट के अंदर चले जाओ यहाँ से. जी.
Ma'am, may I intervene? Supposing as a BSF officer, I have handed 10 persons to the state police of Bengal, right? Now they don't do anything, but there is a record of those 10 persons, and then I'll hand over again, and again, right? Because the numbers we have given, it is not a small number. So if BSF has such a large number of people and handed over to the state police, and they did not act on that, that can be a real issue. They cannot ignore, because there is a record of persons handing over. So it is one thing to blame the state government. They have a great role, but point is that whether the BSF or any other organization which is responsible at the border, do they pursue it further?
Sir, it is very, very true that until recently, we must be aware that many parts of the West Bengal Bangladesh border were totally unfenced. मतलब कोई फेंसिंग ही नहीं है जहाँ पर, और पूरा रिवराइन है बहुत सारी जगह पे, और many places are unfenced. But right now, after last year's August movement and all, government of India is now showing in last 73 years, even government of India was least bothered about fencing West Bengal, rather Indo-Bangla border, not only West Bengal, but also Assam, Bangladesh, Tripura, Bangladesh. So the Indo-Bangla border, which is more than 4,000 kilometers long, the government of India was not really very interested to fence it, as they have fenced the western border. The government of India also kept the eastern border mostly open. So a huge crime economy has developed through this border, I would say. A huge crime economy. But very recently, only in after last year's August, now government of India is actually fencing the Indo-Bangla border. And whenever they are going to fence it, that is the most striking fact, sir. I would drag the attention of everyone who are resisting it, not the people of Bangladesh, but border guard Bangladesh is resisting it. This shows that pushing infiltrators is a policy of Bangladesh itself. It's a Bangladeshi government policy. And that is why the resistance is coming from border guard Bangladesh. They are actually attacking the BSF. If we remember, if we go back to 2001, then before the Khaleda Jia's regime came, just before Khaleda Jia's regime came, border guard Bangladesh had killed 10 BSF personnel. And immediately after, it happened in April 2001. And Khaleda Jia's regime came into June 2001, and they did a rampage on the non-Muslims of Bangladesh. And just before that, they killed 10 BSF. Even in the recent time, very recently, within the last couple of months, they had shot a BSF personnel in Hili border in Uttar Dinajpur, West Bengal. Because this West Bengal-Bangladesh border has been a real issue for Bharat. But Bharat Sarkar also preferred to ignore it for long. But only recently, they have given due attention to Indo-Bangla border. And that is why now we can really expect, because the policy that they have taken in the western border, for eastern border, they will definitely have to take a different policy, because densely populated plain land. मतलब दूर से अगर पंजाब में हम जाएंगे, हम गए हैं, वहां से हम देखेंगे तो एक लोग आ रहे हैं, आदमी आ रहे हैं, हम देख सकते हैं. लेकिन बंगाल में तो इतने लोग हैं, मतलब कौन बांग्लादेशी आ रहे हैं और कौन वही के लोग हैं, हम नहीं पता नहीं चल सकता. लेकिन बीएसएफ का वो बॉर्डर आउटपोस्ट भी ज्यादा हो रहा है, और बीएसएफ का ऑफिस नेटवर्क भी, ऑफिस एकोमोडेशंस भी ज्यादा यहाँ पे बन रहा है, और उसके लिए भी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल की तरफ से बहुत रेजिस्टेंस है. जो आपने कह रहे थे कि जो लोग आ रहे हैं, बीएसएफ के पास उनका डेटा तो होनी चाहिए. तो अगर स्टेट पुलिस इज नॉट टेकिंग इन एनी एक्शन, बीएसएफ शुड रिपोर्ट इट टू द होम मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया. सो फॉर दैट दे शुड हैव अ प्रॉपर डेटा. तो वो सब काम करने के लिए जो ऑफिस स्पेस जो होनी चाहिए, इंडो बांग्ला बॉर्डर में बीएसएफ का वो सब ऑफिस स्पेस भी नहीं है, क्योंकि स्टेट ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल के वेस्ट बंगाल से कोई कोऑपरेशन नहीं है, लैंड एक्विजिशन नहीं है, हम जमीन नहीं ले सकते, ये सब बात है वो. और उसके बारे में अगर चर्चा हम करने जाएंगे तो वो एक दूसरा इशू हो जाएगा. आज के में आई थिंक वी कैन नॉट गो इनटू दोज डिटेल्स. दैट्स व्हाट आई